welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I thought I'd go through a backtesting session on GU, pound US dollar, and take you through exactly what I look for when taking a trade on GU. So I'm going to go through start to finish my exact plan on, what I look for in an area of interest and how I actually enter the trade using FX Replay, which I've used in a previous video. It's a backtesting software where it's like TradingView bar replay, but once you've played the candle bars, you can't go back and cheat. So you can't go back and say, oh, I would have entered here, because you probably wouldn't have in the live market. So it's kind of a more accurate representation of the actual stats that you would get when trading a live market for the pair that you are testing on. So if we get into it, I'll go through the system that I'm going to be testing first, and then we'll get into some live trade examples on FX Replay.
Hi guys, so before we actually go through the examples and start the back testing, I'm just going to go through exactly what I'm going to actually be looking for and the rules that we're going to use and test. So starting in order, the first thing I always look for is a higher time frame, or actually just an area of interest. And there's basically three things I need to see for the area of interest. Obviously, we have to identify as well the trend, and make sure our areas of interest align with the trend. But the main things I look for to validate an area is a supply and demand area. We need imbalance, and we also need liquidity. Those are the three main things we're going to look for a specific area. The next thing we look for is a lower time frame confirmation, which is basically when we go to the lower time frame and wait for the trend to switch, and then enter following the trend at specific areas, which I won't go into much detail here, because this video is not really about that. It's more about the back testing. So yeah, lower time frame confirmation. We can also have risk entries. I have specific criteria for this as well, but basically I'll do a risk entry if the order flow is very clean. We have a clear area of imbalance supply demand in premium and discount, and also liquidity above or below. And targeting we either target supply and demand or areas of liquidity, depending on the trade. Obviously, this is going to be different every time. But if we actually go now to FX Replay, and we can start backtesting. So let's just say 100K for the account balance. We're going to be backtesting GU. Start date. Start date will do 2021 and just a random month. End date will do up to now, but obviously we're not going to be able to backtest all of that in this video. So yeah, let's start the backtesting. Get rid of all of this. Okay, so immediately we can identify that on higher time frame, GU is definitely bearish. We go out a little bit. Price looks like it's targeting probably this low here. It came up, fell to make a new high, probably reacted from a lower time frame area of supply in this region, or this wick here. We then had multiple breaks of structure. So focusing on the most recent price action, we have break of structure just here. So at this point, I'd only be looking at sells. So the areas that I'd basically be interested in at the moment would be the premium levels of 4-hour supply. So we have this one here. And we also have this one just here, have liquidity below. So this would be a valid area for me. Not really any refinements on the 1H, but yeah, so now let's just wait for price to come into one of the levels. I'm not really interested in buying up to those levels because I know it's quite low probability. Okay, so we can actually probably refine this to this area, just so we have a more concise area to go from. This is the one which actually caused this structure to break. See if we can go on 30-minute. Okay, so we can look for entries now. And for our lower time frame confirmations, we just want to basically see the lower time frame trend breaking, which in this case we actually have. This would be a break of structure or a change of character, whatever you want to call it. Since we have been printing higher lows, higher highs, and then price has here closed below the most recent higher low. So we had higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, and we can anticipate next for price to form a lower high, and then sell back down to the low. So in this case, I wouldn't wait for a pullback in this case. I'd probably just enter here, stops above the high. Still can get quite a tight stop loss on that. And we would target the higher time frame low for a 1 to 4.7, almost a 1 to 5. So still decent R to R. And we can also look to scale in on the lower time frames once again for extra risk to reward on the position. So what we do now, just place the order. Price immediately pushes down. That's a good sign. See if it can break this structure as well. Retested our entry to the pip. That was a perfect entry. And what we've done now is we have broken structure once again, just here. So what I'll be looking for now is actually scalings along the way for price to reach this low, which is the overall higher time frame target. See if any valid scalings pop up. Not really any at the moment. Okay, so we want to do a bigger retracement. I think that's the end of the pullback. This level wasn't really valid for me, so that's a new scaling. Oh, well, it's going to continue higher anyway. Yeah, no valid scaling there anyway. We do have this sort of level after price broke structure just here. So that'll be our next break structure, this being the high. Hourly demand supply as well there. However, I'd want a confirmation on this. Let's see if it breaks structure. Okay, so there we have a break of the low. So this would be our internal breaker structure. Can probably look for price to pull back there for higher risk to reward. See on the 5 minute. I think price may want to retest this level since it did leave behind some imbalance in price, only barely tapped this level. Had the breaker structure, we have liquidity. This would be a valid entry for me. So also targeting this area and set the limit. Let's see what it does. I don't like how it's. I'm going to cancel that one. I don't like how it kind of broke structure here with the bodies, and now it's pulling back because our area would be above this zone, which I would consider structure. We may want to retest this or miss it. Next level would be this one for the scalings. So that was actually a stop loss in the end. Annoying. Price reacted from this level of demand rather than the low. However, this area of supply is still valid. This could just be an inducement. Go back to the lower time frames and see what price does. There we go. All right, so this would be a better entry than before. So we've had sweep of this high. Then we've had the break. Also taken out this initial tap, which I now see as inducement for price to come higher into. Remember on the 30-minute, we also had this imbalance here. This was the true zone because it had an imbalance as well. So this one was just used as inducement. Haven't really had actually, yeah, 15 close below it. So we'd be entering from this sort of level. Stops a little bit above the highs just to allow for this area potentially getting wicked. And again, targeting this low. Place the order. I'm going to cancel that actually. I think potentially price is going to also wick out this level. Or not actually. Price broke again, so it is valid. We also have the added confluence of liquidity now, so just going to set that and see how it plays out. Down here, targeting. All right, let's see if it taps us in. Okay, there we go. Tapped in, pushing down. Should be all good if this low breaks. Okay, there we go. This was our further breaker structure on the in the internal price action. Price may want to come back and retest that actually. I may look for another entry if price comes and retests this. All right, there we go. We got the retest. Now let's look for a structure. Not really seeing anything valid at that point. All right, so got another retest. Change the color of this one actually so it's a bit more clear. This initial tap got wicked out. No breaks of structure at the moment. All right, so this demand failed, but the main one we'd want to see would be this, like so. But again, not really any valid levels of supply to enter from. Yeah, no scaling on that one. However, we did just hit take profit for a 1 to 9, recovering the initial loss of 1% as well. So that was a good trade. This level price may want to still pull back to, so I'll leave that on there for now. But we have also had a further break of structure just here. So nice clean order flow to the downside on the 4-hour. Break, break. This range, there isn't really any unmitigated areas, and I think potentially this is liquidity. Notice how we came to this area of supply and kind of just missed this top one. I think price will most likely come back now and pull into this one, taking out the first initial tap as inducement. So yeah, I think we could probably look for buys up if we get a valid confirmation. 1 hour. Let's have a look. Okay, still bearish. Okay, so what we've had now, let's play price a bit more actually. Okay, so we've had lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Price has then broke structure just here and flipped bullish temporarily. So I think now price is going to be attracted to that level that we have marked up here. Since it doesn't really have anywhere to react from in this current leg just here. So if we see a valid entry, I'll buy up to this level and then we can probably catch sells down also with a valid confirmation. So we zoom in on the lower time frames. 15, not really seeing any entries at the moment. Still nothing. Still nothing. So we've kind of formed some structure now on the 1 hour. So we have this break here with inside the internal range. So following the mitigations we have, this level has been already mitigated by this. Next area is, get rid of that. This area just here. Price may want to come and tap that. Or I might just miss, which is annoying. We may not even get an entry on the buys because price is moving, approaching our level. Yeah, no entry there. All right, so price is in our 4 hour level, so the buys are now invalid. We just get rid of all of this. So again, what we're going to look for is for this internal uptrend to come to an end at this point of interest that we have. Looking at the 15, structure is still intact at the moment. Price printed a higher low here. So that becomes our next interest area for sales. Higher low again. See if it sells or breaks. Okay, so all right, so structure has now broken. We have this area failed. So that'd be a break of structure. Areas to enter from then. We do have sort of this area here. All right, so this level is now valid. This is where I'd enter from. Stops above the high. And this can be a nice swing trade since overall we are bearish and we just took out the liquidity. So I'd be looking for sales down to this low. Actually, I'd target this demand because we have kind of one perspective you could look at it from is that this was the lower high, price pulled down, broke the lower high, and now is just pulling back into discount. This being our discounted area. So if we place that order just like that, make this a bit smaller, and see if it wants to pull back. All right, there we go. Misses the stop loss by like less than a pip. Jesus Christ. For scalings, we now have a further breaker structure just here. We change the color of this to make it less confusing. Scaling area would be this one. This is the supply calls breaker structure, huge imbalance below. See if price pulls back to it. Okay, there we go. See if it gives us an entry. No entry at the moment. Okay, so I think this first tap was probably just inducement. Now that has been taken out, we should see price sell. I think that high is probably going as well. All right, there we go. So I think this is now the real move. Tap into the area, also the very top. So this whole region has now been mitigated. We had this further break here. And we left behind this very clear level of hourly supply. So I'll be entering here, stops above the wick, moving the first one to break even as well. So we're only risking 1%. And we'll target the same place down here. See if it gets tagged. All right, there we go. See if it can break structure. There we go. Let's get rid of this actually. Okay, so break, break. We've now also had this break. Once again, I'd want to let price get quite a bit away from our current entries though for any more scalings. This area is kind of nice actually. Get rid of this box as well. So this one, criteria is met. Liquidity, imbalanced supply. I'm seeing this as inducement just below the level. The true zone is kind of this one instead with the wick. Order flow is clearly bearish, so now let's look for the breaks. There we go, clear break. Just here. This level hasn't yet been mitigated. This lower high I'm seeing as a wick. Liquidity, sorry. Most people now would be entering on a retest of this, which is why I'm seeing price coming higher and taking out the majority of people. So another scaling at this level would be very nice. On this one, I'm also just going to target this low to secure some profit in case price takes us out on our previous swing trades that we have above. See if price tags us in. Yep, that tagged in. All right, there we go. 6% secured on that one. We have as well another break here. This one is now mitigated. May want to retest that area. This area here is still valid because price is still bearish, and this is the extremum supply of the current range. I think this touch here is probably inducement for price to come up higher first. Let's see. There we go. Right, so I think that was the real move. I still see price coming higher than that actually. Or not. Let's look where we could have got an entry on that. We could have seen this is the sweep, this is the break, and then this is the supply area for price to pull back to. That was a mistake. So no entry there, unfortunately. And at the moment, I'm probably just going to let price do what it wants to do until these two trades close. I don't really want to look for any more scalings. On a live market, I probably wouldn't have 3 trades open anyway. So let's see what price does. Okay, there we go. Take profit hit on needs to. Currently up 40% between those trades. And I'm going to end the backtesting here because this video is probably already quite long. However, before I go, let's just look at the analytics for what we just did. So obviously we only took 5 trades, but we had 80% win rate and we had average 1 to 10 risk to reward. Obviously that is kind of skewed because of the 2 trades that we take were those 2 trades that we did take were big swing trades. So obviously that was kind of fortunate, and it's not very common in the live market that you would get trades like that. But yeah, these were the results for this backtesting session. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.